On October 17, 1972, in St. Joseph, Missouri, Marshall Bruce Mathers II and Deborah Ray have their first child, who is named after his father, that being Marshall Bruce Mathers III. Soon after, his father leaves and goes to the land of California, where he starts a new family, leaving the boy to his mother's caring. The two often moved in between cities of Detroit and Missouri, living in majority black working-class neighborhoods, leading to Marshall being often beaten up and bullied by the black youth. He was often changing schools 2 to 3 times a year, which led him to be viewed as an outcast with no real friends. This, combined with the bullying and him keeping to himself, made him very uninterested in majority school-related things. But he had a love for the English language, storytelling, and comic books. And this time the person meaning much to him was his uncle Ronnie, who was also his half-brother and who introduced him to rap music via an Ice-T Reckless cassette. Ronnie's early death was tragic enough, but especially tragic for Marshall, who became even more reserved and quiet. When he was 14 years old, he began rapping with his high school friend Mike Ruby, and the two adopted the names Mannix and Eminem, later evolving into Eminem, meaning every mutter is nice except mine. At home, the situation wasn't much better. He often clashed with his mother, who was described by her co-workers as almost paranoid personality. Later in 1987, Marshall met Kimberly Ann Scott, a 14-year-old runaway girl who he allowed to stay at his mother's mobile home. He began an on and off relationship with her, and later even had a daughter together named Haley. As for school, after spending 3 years in the 9th grade due to poor grades and truancy, he finally dropped out of Lincoln High School at age 17. In 1988, Marshall Mathers went by the stage name MCMM, forming his first group New Jacks and making a self-titled demo tape with DJ Butterfinger. In 1996, now signed to FPT Productions, he released his debut album titled Infinite, which was a major failure. The Detroit disco jockeys ignored the album and gave it larger negative feedback, such as, "Why don't you go to rock and roll?" Later in 1992, he made his first music video appearance in a song called Do the Dippity by Comptown. This made him, now called Eminem, into developing more anger-filled and moody tracks. During this time, he was also raising his daughter on very little to no money, washing dishes and working 60 hours a week at Gilbert's Lounge, a restaurant on St. Clair's shores. He recalls being fired 5 days before his daughter Haley's birthday, which was on Christmas. By March 1997, he was fired for the last time. There, at Interscope Records, an intern called Dean Geistingler asked for a copy of Eminem's Slim Shady EP, which he then sent to Jimmy Iovine, the CEO of the company. Iovine played the tape for a guy called Dr. Dre, whose response upon hearing the tape to Jimmy was, "Find him." This was amazing for Dre, and even more amazing for Eminem, who was a huge fan, and at first very nervous, but later got comfortable working with him. Their work together culminated in the creation of the Slim Shady LP, which was released in February 1999, becoming a certified triple platinum and one of the year's most popular albums. The album, like its creator, contained controversial lyrics in songs such as Guilty Conscience, rapping about murdering his wife and then disposing of the body. It sparked the beginning of a collaboration and friendship between Dr. Dre and Eminem, the birth of a much more violent, sadistic, and vigorous alter ego, who he named Slim Shady, started bringing Eminem much more attention and with it more fame. Slim Shady could do everything Marshall couldn't. He could rap about murder, druggings, and rape. Now, in the spring of 1997, the Slim Shady EP was recorded and released in winter, the same year by Webb Entertainment. Later, he went to Los Angeles to compete in the Rap Olympics, where he managed to place second. Marshall Mathers LP was released in May 2000, selling a record reaching 1.76 million copies in the first week alone, surpassed Snoop Dogg and Britney Spears' solo album. The album's first single, The Real Slim Shady, was a major success, even though it was considered controversial and filled with Eminem's insult and claims about other celebrities, such as Christina Aguilera, Carson Daly, and Fred Dunst. Second single, My Name Is, parodied Marilyn Manson, but it was on good terms, leading to Manson making a live remix with Eminem. The one titled Stan presented Eminem trying to deal with his newly found fame, in which he assumes the persona of Stan, a man who kills his pregnant girlfriend and commits suicide afterward. Later, Eminem went on 3 tours: Up in Smoke Tour with Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Xzibit, and Ice Cube, the Family Values Tour with Lip Bizkit, and Management Tour with Papa Roach, Ludacris, and Xzibit. In 2001, he appeared on the 43rd Grammy Awards ceremony alongside Elton John and GLAAD, a shortcut for Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, which was controversial due to their previous homophobic accusations against Eminem. They even went and talked shit against Elton John, a fellow gay person, for performing with him. Rage culminated in GLAAD holding a protest outside the Staples Center. While this was happening, Eminem was busy producing and rapping on Jay-Z's song Renegade. May 2002, and the Eminem Show is released. Also an incredibly successful album, reaching over 1.3 million copies during its first week. Without Me, the album's single, disapproves Limp Bizkit, Dick and Lion Chaney, Moby, boy bands and others. It was good. It was certified diamond by the REAA and was the best-selling album of the year 2002, with 27 million copies being sold worldwide. In 2003, Eminem produced 3 tracks for the Tupac Resurrection documentary. This was topped off by him the next year when producing 12 of the 16 tracks on Tupac's Loyal to the Game album. Controversy arose, yet again, when on December 8, 2003, the US Secret Service started looking into allegations that Eminem had threatened the US president. These alleged threats came from the artist's songs We as Americans. The same year, he was ranked only 58 in the book 100 People Who Screwed Up America by Bernard Salty Goldberg. In 2004, Eminem dropped Encore, a successful but not so successful album as the previous ones. The majority of the album's success came from the single, Just Lose It, where he threw slurs against Michael Jackson and contained elements of parodying Jackson's child molestation trial, and much more against the lustful MJ. But wait, there is more. Eminem went on to express serious anti-war sentiment throughout the song MASH, where he criticized George W. Bush's democracy-spreading crusade across the Middle East. The music video for the song was released 1 week before the US 2004 presidential election. It originally showed Eminem entering the White House with a mob of people and voting. But after the Bush re-election, it was changed into storming the White House. After this, Eminem decided to launch a satellite channel called Shade 45. This allowed him to express himself more freely and allowed his listeners to find him easier. In the summer of 2005, Eminem embarked yet again on another US tour, this time with the Anger Management Free Tour, featuring many other famous rappers. Later in August, he had to cancel the European tour due to entering a drug rehabilitation treatment for dependency on sleep medication. Due to this, many speculated and began rumors that Eminem was considering retirement, and that he would continue working from then on as a producer and labor executive. On December 6, 2005, a greatest hits album, Curtain Calls The Hits, was released and sold nearly 441,000 copies in the US during its first week, making it the 4th consecutive #1 album on the Billboard 200 Hots. Later it was certified double platinum by the REAA. In April of 2006, the rapper Proof, who was also Eminem's childhood friend, was murdered. Upon his death, Eminem released a compilation album titled Eminem Presents The Re-Up that featured Proof and others, but this was combined with the drug treatment sent the rapper down a spiral of depression and began a time of uncertainty for his career. On June 18th, an album previously recorded from 2009 to 2010 was released, titled Recovery. It sold 741,000 copies during its first week, becoming Eminem's 6th consecutive US #1 album, and remaining there for 7 weeks in total. Billboard reported Recovery as the best-selling album of 2010. The success didn't stop there. It became the best-selling digital album in history. The critics' reviews were mostly positive, and as of November 21st, 2010, it had sold 3 million copies in the US alone. Recovery was breaking records left and right, joining the Eminem Show and becoming the US most successful US #1 album by solo artist. It had 2 singles, Not Afraid and Love the Way You Lie, which was the best-selling UK single of 2010, but it did not reach #1. Eminem also made an appearance on the 2010 BET Awards, performing Not Afraid in Airplanes Part 2 with B.O.B. and Keisha Cole. In June, he announced that alongside Jay-Z, they would be performing together in Detroit and New York City, calling this the Home and Home Tour. This was very popular, selling out the first 2 concerts quickly, calling for an additional show in each city. BET, on the other hand, went so far to call Eminem the best rapper of the 21st. Once that was over, he went to open the 2010 MTV Video Music Awards, performing once again Not Afraid and Love the Way You Lie, and this time with Rihanna singing the chorus. MTV called him the hottest MC in the game and MCE of the year by Hip Hop DX, an online magazine. Once again, he did a collaboration with Rihanna on Love the Way You Lie 2. This time it was led by Rihanna on the vocals and performed from a female perspective. 2010, Eminem and Royce the 5'9" revived Bad Meets Evil, a hip-hop duo previously formed in 1998, and the two began working on their first EP, which was released as Hell the Sequel on June 4, 2011. In March of 2011, Eminem became the only rapper with 2 Diamond certified albums, them being the Eminem Show and the Marshall Mathers LP. He also became the most followed person on a platform called Facebook, with over 60 million likes. He outscored Lady Gaga, Justin Bieber, Rihanna, and Michael Jackson. September 2007, he called New York radio station YQHT during an interview with 50 Cent, where he expressed himself on being in a limbo state, debating whether he should and when he should release another album. Essentially, he was seeking advice from his friend. The same month, next year, he was seen on his Shady 45 channel, saying that he is concentrating on his own stuff at the moment. The next year was 2009, and Eminem arose from the ashes like a musical phoenix, and marked it by releasing Relapse on May 15th and the first musical video, We Made You, selling more than 5 million copies worldwide and re-establishing his presence onto the musical hip-hop stage. May 24th, 2012, Eminem announces that he is working on a new album. Next, on August 14th, Survival premiered in the Call of Duty Ghosts trailer. During the 2013 MTV Video Music Awards, it was announced that the album would be entitled The Marshall Mathers LP 2 and scheduled for release on November 5th. It featured the singles Berserk, Rap God, and The Monster, again with Rihanna. The album itself was released on the 5th of November and was Eminem's 7th album to debut atop the Billboard 200s and had the year's second first-week sale. This made Eminem the first ever musician since the Beatles to have 4 singles in the top 20 of the Billboard Hot 100s. In the UK album charts, it reached #1, making him the first American with 7 consecutive UK #1 albums, grabbing second place after, you guessed it, the Beatles, for the most consecutive chart-topping UK album. On November 3rd, Eminem was named the first YouTube Music Awards Artist of the Year, and a week later he received the Golden Globe Award at the 2013 MTV EMA Music Awards. On June 10th, it was announced that Eminem was the first artist to receive 2 Digital Diamond certifications, one for sales and streams of 10 million and above, second by the REA for Not Afraid and Love the Way You Lie. Later on July 11th and 12th, he played 2 concerts in Wembley Stadium. Then on the 57th Grammy Awards, he received Best Rap Album Award for the Marshall Mathers LP 2 and Best Rap Song Collab with Rihanna on the Monster. It was the summer of the year 2014, and Eminem together with Rosenberg began using the hashtag ShadyXV on various social media platforms. This sparked interest amongst the fanbase, and later it was revealed to be the name of an upcoming Shady Records compilation. Later on October 29th, the first single from the album Guts Over Fear was released, featuring Sia. The second single, titled Detroit vs. Everybody, with other artists, was revealed on November 11th, during Black Friday week. It consisted of the greatest hits disc and 1 disc of the new material by various Shady Records artists. The album itself debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 charts, selling 130,000 copies in the US alone. On March 15, 2015, the official Eminem box set was released, a 10-disc vinyl box set. Eminem himself was also the executive producer of the soundtrack for the film Southpaw, which starred Jake Gyllenhaal in the lead role of Billy the Great Hope. 2 singles were released, Phenomenal and Kings Never Die, while in 2016 Eminem was featured on Skylar Grey's song Kill For You from her album Natural Causes. On October 19th, the same year, he released a new song called Campaign Speed, a political hip-hop song. February 2017, Eminem appears on No Favors' Big Sean Freak from the album I Decided, where he calls Donald Trump a bitch and raps about conservative politician Ann Coulter. He went further with this anti-Trump sentiment by criticizing the Trump administration. All this leading to Eminem being interviewed in the period between 2018 and 19 by the Secret Service regarding threats against Donald Trump and Ivanka, his daughter. In late October of 2017, he and Paul Rosenberg began teasing a new album, titled Revival, in a form of an advertisement for a fake medication of the same name. Later in November, he dropped the first single, Walk on Water, Like Christ, which featured Beyoncé. Later, he appeared on the SNL performing with Skylar Grey in order to promote the song. Dr. Dre released a video confirming the album's release date to be December 15, 2017, and so it was. 7 days prior, Eminem released a promotional single called Untouchable, and on the 5th of January 2018, River, the second single, was released, featuring Ed Sheeran. It became Eminem's 8th consecutive album to top the US Billboard 200 and sold 197,000 copies in the first week. This made Eminem the first artist to have 8 entries in a row debut atop the chart. The album itself received mixed reviews from critics, and it was generally considered his worst album, setting the stage for his next one, titled Kamikaze, a response to all the negative feedback of Revival. On the 31st of August 2018, it was released. It had 3 singles, Venom, Fall, and Lucky You. On December 1st, he released an 11-minute freestyle on his YouTube channel titled Kickoff. Next, on February 23rd, 2019, to celebrate its 20th anniversary, Eminem released a reissue of the Slim Shady LP. The next surprise album was released on January 17, 2020, titled Music to be Murdered By. The album debuted number 1 on the Billboard 200, selling 279,000 album copies in the first week alone. With this, Eminem broke yet another record, becoming the first artist to have 10 consecutive albums debut at number 1 in the US, and one of 6 artists to have released 10 number 1 albums in the US. Critics praised his lyrical abilities and criticized the song structure and lack of innovation. On February 9, 2020, Eminem performed Lose Yourself at the 92nd Academy Awards. By March 11, Music to be Murdered By was certified gold, In December, the album's deluxe version was released, peaking number 3 on the Billboard 200s and selling up to 80,000 album copies. In 2021, Eminem recorded the song Last One Standing with Skylar Grey for Venom Let There Be Carnage, and got to perform with LL Cool J at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 2022, he performed alongside Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and Kendrick Lamar on the Super Bowl halftime show. The last thing he did was announce on May 23rd that he will be celebrating a new song, The King and I, and will appear on the Elvis movie soundtrack. It is safe to say that the name Eminem will be remembered in history,